What's up, guys? Welcome back to a new episode of Out of the Park Baseball 26, where today we are starting the 2029 season with our Pittsburgh Pirates here. I think this is going to be our biggest season yet in the sim. I'm super excited to get things kicked off with you today. Last we left off, we were staring down our roster cutdowns at the end of spring training and sort of reviewing all the stats that came out around that time and considering who may make the opening day roster versus who we're going to send back down to AAA. And in the time between episodes, I have made those decisions, and we have simulated all the way up until our opening series here against the New York Mets. Fittingly, we will face Paul Skeens on opening day, which, I love for the lore of the series. It just makes it a lot of fun. But setting your expectations for the video, I guess, to take a step back, the plan for today is going to be we're going to first recap all the news that happened in between videos. There's been some developments. We're going to review the opening day roster. We're going to play these games against the Mets here. We're going to go box score by box score and see how we do in our first test here in 2029. And then I think we're going to get to most of the early parts of the season. I think the plan is going to be to work all the way through April and the majority of May. I don't have a firm end date in mind. I think it's likely going to be toward the end of May, though. We may even finish out the whole month. So we're really going to get all the storylines of the early season handled today, see how our team is playing in the first half, and kind of consider what moves we may need to make for the real meat of the season, June, July, August, which will be in the next video. But the plan, like I said today, is just going to be to knock out these first couple months. So before we get started, I guess, I just want to, of course, thank you for continuing to return to these videos in the series. I've enjoyed making them up until this point, and I'm really excited with where the team is now. So, of course, any engagement you could put on the video would be awesome. It just helps show that real people are watching these, and it encourages me to make more of them. So if you have a second to spare, that would be awesome. Let's recap the news. First, before we dive into the opening day roster, I wanted to show the Dev Lab results we got here. We tried a lot of defensive programs that were unsuccessful, but we did get a couple good results here. And one of those was Nick Gonzalez. Traditionally, he has really struggled as a second baseman for us defensively, being very, very subpar in the field. But we got a successful program here. It didn't really change him all that much, if I'm being honest. It's likely just, very minor gains across every category, but hey, we'll take it. We're not going to complain. So hopefully he's a little bit better there for us this year. We tried to improve our defense on our back-end relievers, too, just to make them a little more efficient at holding runners, but again, no improvement there. Ben Small, our star center field prospect, unfortunately did not improve his defense. But Phil Goodall improved his base running, but only by fewer than 5. So despite his 60 speed, he is still just a 25 base runner, with 70 outfield range. So he's kind of confusing in that sense, but I guess we'll take that. And then this is a pretty big one because Esther Suero did make the opening day roster to, spoil that. But he improved his outfield defense across every category by 5. So he's looking like a real asset now where, plus defender in the corners. He could get by in center, although I don't think we have intentions of playing him there all too often outside of emergency situations. But love to see that for him. Increased his potential up to a 55 as well. So he's a real plus defender in left field with the 75 grade there. But no other improvements. We tried to improve Paul Waldron's defense, our kind of developmental catching prospect who we took in the 5th round of 2027, but no improvements there. He's still seen as a 50 grade, though, so at just 19, I'm optimistic. Maybe he can factor for us in several years. But, of course, we had some other news as well. Our owner, of course, reminding us that the expectation this year is to reach the playoffs, so noted on that. And we also got a new prospect list as well, so there are a couple of differences here. Dan Beebe is at 8. I think he dropped 1 spot. And then Ben Small dropped from 8 to 10. But we still have 2 top 10 prospects here. I'll click into Ben Small so you can see him as well. He's looking awesome, of course, as always. A little bit of regression here in his most recent scouting report, but he is going to get the full season at A-ball, and if he performs well in the first half, maybe he even makes it to high A by the end of the year. He's not going to turn 20 for like a couple more months here, so really excited for his potential and to see what he can do for us this year. But our Pirates still have the number one system in all of baseball. With the two top 10 prospects, Danny Jimenez at 30 now. He's still playing in the DSL. Connor Griffin is a top 50 prospect. He made the major league team. I'll go ahead and spoil it again. And then Jason Solis is also at 58. So we have several top 100 prospects. You can kind of see here, Javier Ruiz, our new catcher, comes in at 63. He's going to sit in the complex for, I think, 1 year. I'll push him to the DSL when he's 18, but he kind of looks fringy right now. I don't know. I'm being conservative with him, and it may come back to bite us, but I would rather be conservative. I think we also have Ryan Malaguti, one of our high school lefties that we drafted several years ago at this point. Edward Lantigua as well is like right on the fringe of being top 100, and you can kind of see the rest of the guys here. But let's go ahead and get to the opening day roster. We'll, of course, look at preseason predictions too, but I want to kind of review who ended up making the team first. So we'll start with pitching, which maybe had the most questions for us. As you can see, our top four are pretty well established, but we ended up choosing Finn McElroy as our fifth starter. I know this is maybe a little surprising given the spring training stat lines, but I was sort of looking back at the AAA numbers and the numbers in the Arizona Fall League, and I sort of, used all of that information in the aggregate to land on Finn McElroy just being our better opportunity. He has 55 control, he's got good stamina. As a fifth starter, really, we're not expecting too much stuff, like electric stuff. And I was considering Tyler August, right? We had looked at him and he looked really good, but he had very marginal control. And I just felt that I wanted to be a little more safe and conservative with our fifth starter. So I bumped August back down to AAA to hopefully work on his attributes a little bit more. And we're going to roll with Finn McElroy, who has been like a positive WAR player for us across both levels last year, was a positive WAR player in the Fall League, and he mostly just doesn't walk guys, which I like. So he'll be one of our first draft picks to really debut in a meaningful way. So he was a fourth-round pick in the very first draft in 2025 out of UCLA. And we're going to give him the shot first. Of course, if it goes bad, we can always make moves to call other guys up, those guys I just mentioned, like Harrington or maybe August or Zane Petty or something like that. There's flexibility here, but I wanted to give him first shot. You can see our back end here where we're doing 8th plus for Abreu, and Brash will double as closer backup. Randy Rodriguez gets the other setup role. Our middle relievers, we have De La Paz, per usual. Jose Olivares did end up making the team. Our trade acquisition in exchange for Cedric Mullins. I just like his ability to hold runners, and I think, this 55 BABIP will play. He's good at inducing soft contact. He's not going to strike a ton of guys out, I don't think, but, I don't know. I just we don't really have all that many great middle reliever options available to us, so I just wanted to bet on him being 26. And the other guy in middle relief, we have Shosei Fujimoto Molly, who we found in the international free agent pool some time ago at this point in 2026, and he's kind of been sitting in AAA for us for 2 years, and he was, really good his first year and pretty good his second year as well. Kind of did closing duty down there, and he's really good at holding runners, decent stamina. The only disadvantage is that he's like a 2-pitch guy, and while they're above average, they're not elite, so he's going to face some problems against the left-handed batters, I think, but I'm willing to give him a shot. He's 25. I think he's one of our better options available to us, so we're going to give him the chance. I think holistically our bullpen is possibly a little weak this year, so I'm like a little scared of what these guys may do, but we could be pleasantly surprised as well. And then this last guy is probably really surprising to you, but Jonathan Santucci is going to make it as our long reliever and double as a lefty specialist for us. And I'm more comfortable putting the low control guys in bullpen roles. Obviously, that's baseball 101. It's like if a player can't start because he can't find the zone, you throw him in the bullpen, and in smaller sample sizes, he can be successful. So that's what we're kind of hoping here with Santucci. He has good movement and stuff already. Like, all of his pitches are pretty far along, and he's 26, so we figure it's time to get him out there, and he honestly does look like a really capable lefty specialist, and he can be somewhat effective against righties as well. I don't think it's so awful. 45 is below average, but it's not a 40, where, I think Thomas Harrington had like 40 home run allowed against both sides, so he's really kind of in the doghouse for us. So we're going to go with Santucci initially here. Good stamina, good at holding runners. We'll see if he can play. And again, there's a huge discrepancy between what OSA sees in him and what we see in him. But, ultimately felt like pushing him aggressively at age 26 made sense. So that's the pitching. We're gonna be loyal to our guy Jared Jones, giving him the number one spot, and then we're gonna go Green BB Burrows. As far as lineups go, there's a lot less drama. It's just, Alfonso and Plaz, Horwitz, Yordani ends up taking the backup middle infield role. I just compared him side by side with Aiden Miller, and Yordani had like a 10 attribute advantage across, I think BABIP and I. So decided to go with him, and then send Aiden Miller down to AAA, who I still kind of like, but, just didn't quite fit in. Termar at third, Gonzalez at second. I didn't mention Vientos back up third and first. He'll kind of rotate in against righties and then start full-time against lefties as a DH. And then outfield-wise, we got Benj, Lantigua, Suero, Griffin does make it, and O'Neill Cruz. Connor Griffin, in his most recent scouting report, it says his current contact rating improved to 50, and potential contact rating improved to 55. So it's not reflected here yet visually, but I think it's just likely in between ratings. And eventually that'll come up, and he looks like, definitely our most capable center fielder. So we're batting him very low in the order here. We're batting him ninth. We've shifted things around. Sanford will now hit leadoff, and Horwitz will, bat eighth. We've kind of like flipped them in the hierarchy from last year. And we've also flipped Gonzalez and Termar. We're going to bat Termar higher. I just kind of like this balance of left-right better. We're trying to not go lefty, but Carson Benj is also going to swap with O'Neill Cruz for the 4 spot. So, what made me push Sanford to the top? Obviously, he's a better base runner, and his contact and avoid K have really come along, especially against right-handed pitching. He's, elite at both of those attributes. So feel good about him batting a leadoff. And then for Carson Benj to overtake O'Neill Cruz, well, look at this. Carson Benj now has 70 grade power, which is insane. He's a righty destroyer. So that's really awesome. I think I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do this year. Not that O'Neill Cruz is bad, but he's just kind of settled into his current attribute rating. He brings a little less power. 70 versus 55 is a pretty big difference, you guys. So that's what we're doing there. Against the lefties, you can see it's sort of swapped around a bit. Termar and Sanford are lower as they are weaker against lefties. Horwitz is higher as he is stronger against lefties comparatively. O'Neill Cruz is the same guy both ways, so he's kind of staying the same. And then Lantigua is actually getting bumped up to the 3 spot because he really hits lefties, you guys. He hits righties too. He's looking like a really good player at just 22 years old, so I'm excited to see what he can do. He's kind of flying under the radar a little bit for us this year. But the, outfield rotations, we're doing a bunch of crazy stuff here. I don't even think I can articulate it on camera, but essentially it's a 5-man rotation between Lantigua, Cruz, Griffin, Benj, and Suero, they're all getting playing time eventually. And you may be wondering, like, what does this team, like, how would this team be projected to finish if we were to, look at the season predictions together? And that's a great question. I was interested to see if we would be projected to, perform better than last year, regress. And it turns out, you can kind of see here, we're projected to be at the top of the division again. Look at that, you guys. We're right there with Cincinnati. 92, I believe, is like one fewer win than last year. I think we were projected 93 last year. I would have to go back and look, but this is like right in line, I think, with what we were at last year. We're projected to hit more homers, I'm almost certain. And our pitching is, projected to be really good. Most strikeouts in the division by far. And we're not walking a ton of guys. Like, I mean, most, but like not as many as Chicago, right? If you go down to the top performers, look at the top pitcher in the league, you guys. Dan freaking Beebe. Projected to have a flat 3 ERA, 211 innings, over 200 strikeouts. Obviously, I see it on paper. It's crazy that his sinker is also now graded as a 70. And he really didn't put it. He had a 7 ERA last season out of the bullpen, so I'm hoping he can, figure it out this year. Surely with these ratings and his new contract that we signed him to, it's just a beautiful thing to see. But I've, set the table enough, you guys. Let's get into some action here. I'll try to speed through these initial games rather quickly so we can get moving through the season. But I do like to look at the opening series. Plus, it's against Paul Skeens and the Mets, so of course we have to do it. We have no game today, so we're going to simulate through this. And it will be Paul Skeens versus Jared Jones. And I just remembered in the strategy we still have our pitch count on from spring training, so we're going to adjust that, that's some clutch memory there. Let's get back to the series here against the Mets. We're on the road again. I feel like we open up on the road every year. Am I crazy? But here we go. Skeens versus Jones on opening day in New York. We take a huge 10-4 victory. 3-run homer for Edward Lantigua. Let's go. Oh my gosh, we jump on them for 5 in the 4th inning. They come back for 3. We answer with 3 later and put 2 more on in the 9th. 14 hits overall. Termar goes 2 for 5. Benj 2 for 5. Lantigua, Alfonso, Horwitz, Connor Griffin with 4 hits in the 9-hole for us. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. He had 4 RBI. 6 total bases. That's amazing. We had an error from Alfonso, though. Jared Jones, 7 1/3, striking out 10, only walking 1. Oh my gosh. And Santucci strikes out 5, and how many outs is that? 5. He struck out everyone he got out. That's crazy. Player of the game, Connor Griffin. That's amazing. Finn McElroy, we got a new scouting report here. Let's see if anything. All right, he loses movement and stamina. We'll see how he performs, you guys. We'll see what ends up happening. We got a new scouting report here. Let's get back to the series here. I shouldn't be reading emails when I'm trying to play the game. Oh no, 2 weeks on a sprained elbow. Minimal effect though. Bad things always seem to happen when I record here. I'm inclined to bench him. Could you imagine if Connor Griffin has Tommy John surgery? This is ruining my game plan for this video. Obviously, I wanted to simulate this whole series with you on camera, but I think this news is too devastating. I think we're going to put Connor Griffin on the IL, and I will come back to you once I organize all that. Okay, Sorry about that. Eventually, we figured out the plan moving forward, and it's going to be our playoff wildcard hero, Esmeralin Valdez. He's going to come up and serve as our kind of righty power bat, lefty masher, but capable against righties. He's going to play both ways. He's going to DH primarily against right-handed pitching, and we're going to slot him into the same role in the lineup, and then he's actually going to get out in the field into left field against lefties. So a little interesting there. I think we just need the offense ultimately, and we did end up placing Connor Griffin onto the injured list. So after his amazing first game where he was OPSing 2,000, he's got to go back down. Be sidelined for the next 2 weeks probably. So let's keep it moving. I'm going to finish out this series. We ended up losing in extras. Brian Abreu gave up 5 singles in a row to blow the game. So you don't love that in his first appearance of the year on his new contract. But let's go. This will be Dan Beebe here. Let's look at Hunter Green first, though. He actually got kind of hit up a little bit. He didn't really strike anyone out, which is unfortunate. Santucci comes in again with a strong performance in relief, and then you can see the back end guys just kind of blew it, and then Brash wasn't able to hold on in extras, unfortunately. So this will be Dan Beebe versus not sure, Zach Thornton. Looks like a pretty good player for them, but this will be our first look at Dan Beebe this season. And of course it's the end of the month as well, so we're gonna have to save. I hope we can get Connor Griffin back soon, because I really cooked up a sick outfield rotation, and I think his defense in center field is going to be amazing for us. So hopefully he's not injury prone or anything this year. Looks like we have a big player dev update, and we win 9-8. I'll check these emails later. But I want to see the box score here and how our guy Dan Beebe did. Looks like we jumped on them early, and then for 6 in the 5th inning. Wow. And they kind of tack on a bunch late. Who let up all these runs late? They had 17 hits. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it looks like he was a lefty. I didn't clock that when we looked at his player profile. So it's a little bit different of a lineup here for us. Vientos strikes out 4 times, so that's lovely. Looks like Yordani got in there as well. But home runs from Valdez in his first game up. Okay, there we go. Benj also hitting one as a pinch hitter. That's awesome. And then our pitching. So Dan Beebe gave up 4 and 8 hits. Olivares did not register an out. And JoJo came in. Looks like he gave up a run. Did we have an error from Wyatt Sanford? So that's tremendous. Our 70 grade shortstop, or 65 grade, I guess. But 75 error grade committed the error. And then Abreu's just getting shelled. Dude, what is going on with our closer? Is he good? Is it because we're using him in the 8th plus, do you think? Maybe we need to dial that back and only do that later in the season? Let's try that. We're already making adjustments out of desperation, but we ended up winning, so we've guaranteed at least a split. Let's see how this final game goes. It'll be Mike Burrows versus Nick Pivetta. And we lose 3-1, so no offense was had here for either side, it looks like. Even though our whole top of the order all got hits, it's just they weren't in succession. And looks like Suero goes hitless in his first game. Yeah, not great. Burrows had just an average game score, gave up 3. Fujimoto comes in and shuts it down. He went long, too, 2 1/3. Wow. But okay, we've got some news to catch up on here. I think I'm going to, start cranking through this season. So we've got 3 more on the road at Tampa. Then we've got more interleague play, Baltimore at our house to open the year, and then we get into some divisional games here, St. Louis and Milwaukee. So let me jump ahead to the 12th here. We'll probably knock this out in 3 chunks. We'll probably go 12, 23, and then end the month. So check back with you here after these next series. All right, we've completed a couple series here, a little bit up and down. We split the first one of the year against the Mets. We go on to lose this one on the road at Tampa, dropping the final game in extras again. But coming back here at home, we take 2 of 3 against Baltimore and then sweep the Cardinals early. We love to see that. So we're 8-5 on the year, first in the division. I think we're 1 game up. I mean, it's way too early to look at this, but 1 game up on the Brewers. A couple guys are crushing it for us. Edward Lantigua's batting .400, and Jared Jones has won every game he's pitched. Also second in the league in strikeouts and WAR, right behind Paul Skeens. So, super early to look at stats, but if you go to the lineups and see by WRC Plus who's hitting, Lantigua and Sanford are doing amazing. Spencer Horwitz is up there still. Both of our catchers are hitting. And Termar is as well. Guys who are not hitting, Carson Benj is not hitting. He does lead us in homers with 3. And I believe he also leads in RBI. Or he's he's 1 behind Lantigua and tied with Horwitz with 8. It's just his hits are not getting down. His BABIP is 118, 146 batting average. So he'll come out of it eventually. I have faith. And then pitching-wise, JoJo has actually been pretty decent so far, so fingers crossed he's good. Finn McElroy has also been good. 10 innings, 3.5 ERA. The FIP is looking good. He's not walking guys at all. He hasn't walked a single person, which is exactly that steady hand is what we need in the 5 spot. So things I don't like here. I don't love both of our back-end leverage guys having ERAs in the double digits, and Matt Brash's is actually 20, which is impressively bad. So he's just giving up tons of homers, but he only has 1 and a third inning. So I'm not going to put too much stock into these yet. Obviously, we've paid these guys, so hopefully we get some better production out of them in the long run. And Jonathan Santucci is walking guys. He's up to 5 walk per 9, which is kind of what we anticipated with him. But, he's not getting hit up too bad. So I'm still happy to have him in mop up, I guess. But still super early. No other news has come across. I guess we still have Connor Griffin injury check-in 1 day. Although he is still kind of maybe recovering. I don't know. We'll see if he comes out of it. We also got the draft pool revealed. I'm not going to touch on it until the combine, likely later in June. But this next stretch of games, if Connor Griffin comes back, I'm just going to work him in off camera the same way we had it on opening day. But let's get through these next series. We've got 3 on the road at Milwaukee, 4 at home against Washington before we get Detroit as well. So big stretch of games here. I'll come back to you on the 23rd. All right, guys, bit of a minor crisis here. We've simulated the full stretch of games here, and we've done quite well. Our record is 16-7, but in the most recent series against Detroit, Wyatt Sanford, I noticed in Game 2 of the 3-game set, had a pending leg injury, and I was sort of fearing the worst of what is this going to be? Is it going to be really, really terrible? It's a hamstring strain that will put him out for over a month. He's going to be out for 6 whole weeks. So it's pretty serious. We're going to have to figure out what our corresponding move is going to be. I don't know that I want Nick Gonzalez or Termar to attempt to play shortstop. I think we will likely look down to the minor leagues and see what we can figure out down there. Of course, O'Neal Cruz could play it, and I guess Connor Griffin as well, but I really don't want to take him out of center field. But I'll figure that out, I think, off camera. We can sort of review the team's performance. I mean, you can just see we only lost 2 games in the whole set that we had, and, ended up sweeping Washington at home. We took every series, obviously. The team is playing tremendously well. There was another minor injury during this time, and he's not injured anymore, but it was to Carson Benj, who couldn't play for 5 days. He had a rather severe oblique strain. It was actually a 1-week injury duration, so I guess he missed the full week. basically it was not long enough for me to want to put him on the 10-day, so we just kind of benched him. So he didn't really factor at all, and we still won all those games, which is all the more impressive. But you can look at like our team ranking in like a lot of these categories. Well, we'll just go to the team stats page. You can see we're one game under our expected record, 16-7, and we're really, really hot. The bats are batting. We're first in runs and second in batting average. Very like top 3 in most categories. The only thing that we're not is home runs, which are difficult to hit in our park, and we're striking out quite a lot as well. Good at base running though. Look at this base running. I jacked everyone's like personal like strategies up, and I think that's paying off. Pitching has been really, really good. We're allowing a lot of hits. The bullpen is still holding it. Like I had, my concerns in the early stages with all the blown saves, but they've kind of course corrected a bit there. Our defense is honestly not the best. I don't know who is dragging that down. I noticed Wyatt Sanford was having like a suspicious amount of errors early in the season that was like dragging down his efficiency. And then of course Nick Gonzalez is like kind of weak at second base, even though we did get the improvement to his defensive program in the off season. So, I think we can obviously get better at defense, but the pitching as a whole has been really good. This BABIP being 13th is maybe not so good, but, I think we may have one of the best records in all baseball. I actually haven't even checked. So we're one game up on the Braves for the best in the NL. And the Yankees are actually hotter than we are. They are 18-6 to top the AL, but we would be second best out of all the teams there. Edward Lantigua is continuing to crush it, and so are our pitchers, BB Jones, and Hunter Green as well is not shown here, but he has also been tremendous. You can just take a look at like their surface level numbers here. Everyone has sub 4 ERAs. BB and Jones are both undefeated, 5-0 for Jones, 4-0 for BB. Finn McElroy has low-key been like balling in some of these. 73 game score in his most recent. No walks, 5 Ks. And he's been a positive WAR player for us overall. So he hasn't gotten touched up for the long ball just yet. So I'm knocking on wood that he can continue to keep this under 1 or at least like close to 1. But you can see a couple good game scores here, like 56. 50 is just average for game score. So like anything above 50 is good. 50 is right on average. Anything below 50 is bad. So, he's kind of up and down, but there are flashes with him. So I think it was a good decision to bring him up. And then in the bullpen, like our middle reliever guys, Jose Olivares, Fujimoto, Santucci have all been really, really good. And Randy Rodriguez on the back end is like the one steady guy we have. Although Abreu has started to settle in. He's only allowed 2 hits in his last 4 appearances. So maybe he's finally woken up. But I need to figure out what we're going to do with the Brannigan injury here, the Sanford injury. I had Jack Brannigan on the mind just because I know he's like, a capable shortstop. Honestly, does it make sense to bring up Aiden Miller? Could Aiden Miller be our shortstop? I don't know. I'm going to figure it out off camera, you guys, and then we'll finish out the month here. We've got 3 more in Vegas for our first series against the new Athletics, and then 3 more against Arizona to wrap up. So I'll join you there, and I'll recap all of our transactions. All right, closing out the month here, a little bit of a rocky series against Vegas. We lose Sanford and kind of fall apart here on the back two, so we only take 1, but then we come back and take 2 of 3 against Arizona. So all in all, we're 19-10, first in the division. 1 month down, we have a 3-game lead on Cincinnati, and the best record in the NL still. So really good, trailing only the Yankees still in the AL. And our 2 star pitchers remain near the top of the rankings, although Edward Lantigua has sort of fallen back a bit to the likes of Sean Bouchard and Jose Perdomo. Run differential-wise, I think we're looking pretty good. Yeah, plus 59. Still 1 below our Pythagorean expectation, though, so we've been a little bit unlucky, but we're crushing it at home. 11-2 at home. My goodness. But you may be wondering the corresponding move that we made, and it was actually to call up Elian Pena, our star 21-year-old shortstop, second baseman, kind of waiting in the wings with a great personality. He honestly just had the best range out of anyone available to us. Unfortunately, through 5 games and 21 plate appearances, he is hitless and he's striking out 42% of the time. So, admittedly, this was a very aggressive promotion, and I think I'm going to end up sending him back down in return for someone else. But I just loved the glove. He's a positive defender here for us. If we just look at his major league stat line, he's got good range, positive zone rating, good efficiency. So that was mainly what I was looking for. I don't care that he's not hitting, but I think we're risking doing more harm than good, continuing to run him out there. So I'm going to give it one more series to open up the month here, see if he's turned over a new leaf. We're now into May. Maybe that has awoken something within him. But if it's more of the same, I'm going to send him down for someone new. So I think we're going to work all the way through May, you guys. We're still, there's still some time left in the video. I think we can go through the rest of this month and then kind of end there. So we're going to open with big series against Cincinnati here at home, and then we also have the Padres in town afterwards before we go on the road to St. Louis. So I'll check back with you in 10 days on the results. Okay, we're hitting a little bit of adversity here in May. As you can see, not our strongest start to the month. We're 4-5. We've sort of been getting blown up against St. Louis especially. It's kind of like we lost 2 of 3 against Cincinnati, came back to sweep the Padres at home, and then we just got torched here. One especially bad game here where I think this is Jared Jones, yeah. This is one of the worst games I've ever seen out of Jared Jones. 10 earned runs on 10 hits in 2 2/3. Just -7 game score, atrociously bad. 3 in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third. So we're sort of regressing, I think, a little bit back to our means. But all that said, I've been doing a lot of scouting, so it'll be tough to actually find when we received this message. Weekly power rankings. This is this week. This is only 4 days ago in game time. We are number 1 in the entire MLB. So we're not going to let one cold week, sour our mood. Our Pirates are still very strong. Also, I neglected to mention Dan Beebe was named not only the NL's best rookie last month in April with an impressive 4-0 record. He was also named the number 1 pitcher overall, which is awesome. Sub-3 ERA. He has since had one good start here on the 4th and most recently on the 9th, a subpar game score of 39 or 38. But his numbers on the season as a whole are looking really pretty good. He unfortunately is not eligible for PPI because he signed long-term extension with us, which is a little frustrating, but I think we needed to jump on this when we did. Otherwise, it would have been a lot more expensive if we had tried to sign him now that he has some production behind him. So 2 smaller things I forgot to update you on. One other thing, we ended up sending down Elian Pena. He did not get a hit. I gave him 3 series of work. He did not get a hit. We call up Jack Brannigan. He's hitting the ground running, averaging 333, 900 OPS through his first 20 plate appearances. So, he's not a plus defender by any means, but he's at least a proven major league bench player who is not super horrendous. He's a positive efficiency player, although negative zone rating. So it's he's got a big arm, but he doesn't have much range or skill playing short. But I think that's it. We've, like I mentioned, sort of regressed a little bit here. Some of our batting categories are slipping to 4th and 5th, and our pitching, we've kind of been struggling. Matt Brash has been especially bad, you guys. He's a full negative half-WAR player, and he's walking 12 per 9, which is atrociously bad. So I bumped him down out of the setup role, and we're going with Shosei Fujimoto there for the time being, who has been much more consistent. Randy has been really good. He's a full WAR player as a reliever with 7 shutdowns already, so he is going to be the backup closing guy. Even though Brian Abreu has not been tremendously good, he has 9 saves and he hasn't blown any. It's kind of just weird. I'm still sticking by him as our guy. And this actually brings something else to mind. But we have Tyler Holton on rehab assignment now, and he's only made 1 appearance, but he went a full 4 innings. He threw 44 pitches in that 1 appearance, and he was really quite good. So I may let him get a little bit more run, and then I think we will maybe even re-scout him and then try to bring him up, ASAP. Likely 1 or 2 more appearances down here, and then he can kind of fit in somewhere here. I still need to figure out where, because Santucci, as you can see, has been really good, and so has JoJo, but De La Paz has been a little shaky. So, he's been a negative 0.1 WAR player. I'll need to take a look at it. Obviously, Brash is here, but he can, I think, refute a assignment to AAA, and also we just signed him to a big deal. I want to keep him up here, obviously. So I'll figure all that out as it kind of pops up. But I think, there's only 2 series before our next off day. Let's go all the way through this Philly series as well. So we've got Miami at home, and then this is a full NL East slate here. We got Miami at home, and then we go on the road to Atlanta, off day on the road at Philly. So I'll rejoin you here on the 20th with more updates. All right, y'all, another solid week of play. As you can see, we swept Miami, took 2 of 3 on the road at Atlanta, and 2 of 3 against Philly on the road as well. So we are sitting pretty at 30-17, and the team is really coming together in full force. I'm this is really exciting when all of the young guys are hitting at the same time. There is one minor thing I'm keeping my eye on, however, and that's O'Neal Cruz, who is really kind of regressing a bit this year. I think he started at a 55, and now he's down to just a flat 50, so he's lost 10 points in his overall ratings since last September, which is obviously not good. And you look at his stat line, he's striking out 41% of the time, which is really not ideal at all. So I've bumped him way down in the order, and I've also adjusted his development to, I've locked in this to really focus on the avoid K attribute to try to course correct what we have going on here at the expense of his running and defense. So we're kind of trying to save it a bit, but just a early season pattern I noticed for sure. Obviously he's in the first major year of his extension with us. We have him for 2 more additional years following this. Another major move, we called up Tyler Holton, and he's only gotten 1 1/3 inning. He's only got action in 1 game so far, but pretty solid. Only 2 hits. No runs allowed. We'll take it for sure. And the corresponding move was to bump down our trade acquisition. You can sort of see the bullpen, how we have it set up here. We kicked Fujimoto back down to middle relief, where he can hopefully get a little bit more action, and then Randy and Holton are now our setup men. Matt Brash also bumped back down to just middle relief. The corresponding move was to relegate Jose Olivares, the trade return for Cedric Mullins, back down to AAA. He really kind of struggled. He got 12 games of work for us and had a 7 ERA with a 2 whip. The walks were pretty elevated, and he was just getting hit around a lot. 373 batting average against, not ideal, but this is partially why we got him, the ability to send him up and down as we need, and he's still solid. He just got off to a rough start, and we don't need him at the MLB right now. So those have been the updates. I think we'll do a full stat review, or not a super detailed one. I'll try not to, guys, sorry, but a light stat review at the end of the month. But I'm going to keep chugging along here. We've got divisional games. We've got Milwaukee at home, followed by 4 against the Cubs, and then back on the road to wrap against Colorado. Wyatt Sanford is still 2 weeks out from returning from his injury, so I don't think it's likely that we see him the rest of this episode. But I'm going to finish out the month here, and then we will sort of review our, stats across both hitting and pitching, and kind of recap, the early season together when I'm done. So be back in a sec. And we have officially wrapped up May here. The first 2 months of the season are down. As you can see, we took the series at home against Milwaukee, ended up splitting against Chicago with a couple of games that were really tough for us. And then we go on the road to get swept by Colorado, which is very bizarre. But all in all, we're still first in the NL Central. We're 34-23. If we go to the standings, we are only 2.5 up on St. Louis and 3.5 up on Cincinnati. So it looks like it's going to be rather competitive this year, even though we were off to a really hot start. We still do have, we're tied for the best record in the NL with the Braves with 34 wins, and tied for the best record in the MLB with, of course, the Braves and the Yankees. Our run differential is looking pretty good. I think it's the highest in the majors. Last I checked, it is plus 69. So, maybe we've been a little bit unlucky. We're still one under our expected record. At home, we're a great team. On the road, not so much, and not so good in extra inning game or one-run games. There's definitely some things we need to work on, but I'll sort of review some stats with you now and some trends I've been monitoring. I guess first thing, Wyatt Sanford is set to return in 2 days, so I'm looking forward to getting him back ASAP. In the most recent scouting report, his potential went up to a 75, and his eye is now valued at a 60 grade. I think that's new, so he's continuing to grow and evolve, and he's still on the major league minimum. We have not extended him long term yet, although I fear that it's going to be quite expensive. So at this point, we may just have to ride through his arbitration years. I'm not sure if he would sign anything super long term with us. But anyway, I'm looking forward to bringing him back. Obviously, he's our best defender, best glove on the infield. And, otherwise, no lingering injuries or anything like that. We're fully healthy. I'll show you all who has been hitting. So I have these stats split for May, but if we open it up to the year, you can see our catchers, Alfonso and Axel Plaz, both hitting at a tremendous rate. Alfonso, actually, I'll click in on him. He is now seen as a 60 grade across the board here, and that's because his catching defense improved up to a 60. You can see in his most recent scouting report, his defense got bumped up, and his overall in potential did as well. So he's looking really, really good. He's pacing for a 5.8 WAR season. He's already accumulated 2 WAR with his 150 WRC plus. We actually have him batting cleanup right now, because he's really good. He's very well balanced, good power, good eye from the left side of the batter's box. I just really love what he's doing for us. Axel Plaz has been really good in his role as well. He's got 20 games. He's not walking, but he's hitting .317, and he's pushing the ball out, 4 homers. So his slugging is up there as well. Also, just perfectly fitting into his role as backup catcher. Spencer Horwitz is doing a lot better than he was last season. He's made improvements in all of his slash lines, so he's hitting for higher average, getting on base more, slugging more, all total together for obviously a better OPS, and he's a positive WAR player for us. So nice bounce back here from Spencer Horwitz, although you will notice he has regressed down to a 50 at he's 31.5, pushing 32. I don't know that he'll return for us next season. He's kind of starting to decline, and he'll still be in ARB 3, but I'm not sure I'm willing to pay $8.5 million for him. But taking a step back to just this year, he's doing quite well for us. So happy to have him back. He's hitting leadoff for now. I think when Sanford returns, we'll switch this up again and kind of make sure Sanford's up near the top. Nick Gonzalez is doing pretty well. 750 OPS. He had a really cold May. If we go into his splits here, April he had a 130 WRC plus. May just an 84. So he's been bumped down in the order a bit. We still see him as pretty much the same guy. He hasn't changed much from a developmental perspective. He is a positive WAR player for us. He's hitting 17. He's already hit 17 doubles. He's pacing for almost 50. So he is quite good. His fielding is a little weak though, -3 zone rating. So he's still not super awesome to have up the middle. But I think we just kind of have to run him out there because he can't play third base or anything like that. So like I mentioned, we bumped him down to 7th in the order for the time being, just until he rediscovers it. He's still going to hit leadoff against lefty, though. Termar has been heating up, 876 OPS, 145 WRC plus, full 2.1 WAR player. He's walking a ton. 14% walk rate is awesome. Still like 60 grade guy. He's like fully come into like who his ratings like say he's going to be as a player. So he's pacing for 6 WAR at the moment. I think we're also low-key like stealing a ton of bases this year. Like all of our guys are like, getting crafty on the base path, which I love. We haven't really done that so much in the sim yet. Anyway, Vientos, not good, you guys. Like, this is definitely his last year. He's here as like a first base defensive, like late game substitution and like a platoon lefty bat, like short side of the platoon bat. Backing up the corners, he's not been good. He's a negative WAR player. Brannigan has been fine in his like very limited role, hitting 270, but he's not really producing much from like a counting stats perspective, and he's just a 0.1 WAR player. I think he's also like a negative defensive player as well. So can't wait to get him back down. He's -3 zone rating at shortstop, which is obviously not ideal, but he was better than Pena, that's for sure. Carson Benj is still sort of like an anomaly to me, where I feel like he was getting bad luck with his BABIP for a long time, and he still has like yet to turn it around, even though he's like one of our best power hitters. And his most recent scouting report actually bumped down his power to a 65. So he improved the contact and the speed, but lost some of the power, and kind of a trade-off there. He's still projected to hit 23 homers, but so far as DH, he's been a negative WAR player, although he is getting a fair amount of run in left field as well. Hopefully he can turn it around soon. Lantigua has been one of the best hitters in all of baseball. He's got a 158 WRC plus. He's hitting 337, OPSing 930. He's got 5 homers, 31 RBI, 12 doubles. He's not striking out at all, only 15% on the strikeout percentage there. He's been awesome. Suero has been, fine in his backup role. He's good. He has good defense, but he's not really hitting for average yet. I think he sort of started slowly, but just a backup for now, so we don't need him to, be tremendous or anything. I guess he has hit 5 homers, which is pretty good. But this guy, Connor Griffin, you guys, I never expected him to be so good right out of the box. Most recent scouting report, his contact improved, his potential contact improved, and you can see that reflected here. Now he's looking like plus contact and plus power with the plus speed, plus fielding. He's projected to be a 7 WAR player, so he may even like steal the Rookie of the Year crown from Dan Beebe, who I had penciled in as Rookie of the Year. That was my expectation coming into the season. He also has 13 steals and has yet to be caught, 9 homer, 41 RBI. I bumped him up to number 2 in the order. You can see we go Horwitz, Griffin, Termar, Alfonso, Lantigua. Maybe you could make the argument we need to swap Lantigua in with Alfonso as well. Like something like this could be interesting too. But I'm gonna readjust things once we get Sanford back, and then we touched on O'Neal Cruz a little bit before, but still he has lowered the strikeout rate marginally. It's down to 40%. I think last we looked it was like 43 or 42, and he's brought the average up slightly, but he's still kind of struggling to find it. His most recent games, he had 1 3-hit game down here, 10 days ago, or earlier in the week in game time, but is still striking out quite frequently, 2, 2, 3. So I'm a little worried about him. Hopefully he can turn it around. At the very least, we'll bat him low in the order. But let's get to pitching and take a look at our starters. There's a really concerning trend here with Jared Jones. His 2 most recent games have been so horrendous. They have inflated his ERA up close to 7. But if we go to like his pitching stats and his game log here, you can see the season starts like right here, I think, on 329 against New York, where he had like above average game scores. What I'm getting at is like all of his game scores have been above average. And then this one outing where he gave up the 10 runs really kind of set him off track. But, well, not necessarily, because he bounced back for 2 above average ones. And then most recently against Chicago and Colorado, gave up 9 and gave up 6. So it's like, gosh, we got to, I know he's our ace and we let him, like, the hook is like a little generous, but we got to get him out of there, coach. Like, he's getting destroyed. And the numbers are not looking too good for him, although he's still a positive WAR pitcher. He was at one point like 5-0, and now he's 6-3. I know win-loss don't really matter, but yeah, just kind of concerning. 2.0 homer per 9 for our guy, and like, still very early in his contract too. So this one might get a little, I don't know, interesting. Same for Hunter Green too. Low key, his last couple of games he got shelled. Like this game in Colorado, I know he's like a fly ball pitcher, but at the same time, 8 earned runs is ridiculous. He only gave up 1 homer. It was just like he got hit up, and that kind of inflated his ERA. Although his numbers on the season as a whole are still close to league average. The homer's a little elevated, but he's definitely striking a ton of guys out, and I think he's overall been good. Like, yeah, his WAR is positive. He's pacing for 2.2 WAR, so maybe just a little string of bad luck. Look at Dan Beebe's attributes, you guys. He is a 70 grade, and he throws 100 plus. This is like one of the best pitchers I've ever had in like out of the park. My out of the park history. I've never had a pitcher like this dominant on the attribute scale, and he's already put up a 1.9 WAR. So those preseason projections of him being like the top pitcher in the league look to be accurate. We will keep our fingers crossed that he can continue to produce at this rate. The stuff recently ticked up to 60, and he's looking really, really good. He's got now 3 above average pitches. The sinker, the splitter, and the fastball is a full 85 grade. So he's everything we could ask for, and he's been awesome. I'm not going to review all the other guys. I'll just, let you go off of the WAR here, but you can see guys at the bottom who are struggling are De La Paz and Brash. We're still kind of like, I don't know what we're going to do with them. We can like send them down, but at this point we're like so financially committed to Brash. We just handed him a big deal that like I kind of want to keep him up here for a little longer. I know it sounds crazy when he's walking 11 per 9, but we'll see how this next month of June starts for him, and if he's starting to look somewhat decent, maybe we keep him. He still does have 1 option year remaining. I don't know if he'll be able to be sent down or not, but we could try, I guess. Abreu has like been a little shaky as well. His ERA and WHIP are still pretty elevated. He's also walking a ton of guys, so it's like, oh gosh, neither guy. Like Randy has been by far our best reliever, no doubt. So I don't know. Hopefully those our bigger ticket guys figure it out. I think last guy we'll acknowledge here, like Burrows and McElroy have both been like pretty solid. McElroy specifically is like not walking anyone and also not giving up the homer. Both of them have like a 1.5 WAR-ish, and I'm just really pleased with them as like the solid 4 or 5 guys. Like, just like good control, good stamina, innings eaters who are not going to rock the boat too much. They've both been, really pretty solid in those roles. So let's take a look at the team stats finally, and then we'll kind of wrap up here. As you can see, we're still like first in quite a few categories here, like top 2 in pretty much everything here. Only 5th in walks, and we're striking out a ton, probably thanks to O'Neal Cruz. And our base running has sort of taken a dip, but our steals have like crept up marginally, I want to say, but they're, both still top 10. Our ERA has definitely slipped due to Jared Jones's and Hunter Green too. Like they're both of their kind of like downfalls. But our bullpen is still pretty solid, and we're second in WAR, so I think we'll be all right in the long run. We're not really walking guys on the whole as a staff, and we're getting a ton of strikeouts. So all of this I think is positive, although, May wasn't our best month. We're still positioned well for the remainder of the season, which we will get to in the next episode. So I think, a little teaser, we'll probably go through all of June, and we'll kind of look at the scouting combine around this time as well, and kind of identify, a couple of the top players in the class. Even though we are picking later, I still just like to, key in on those guys for the, the lore of the sim in general, and then we'll push all the way up till the draft and the All-Star break, and we'll leave off while our Pirates are on the clock, and you guys can kind of see who's available along with me, and we can kind of make a decision together. So we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for spending your time watching these videos. I really appreciate it. I'll be back with a new one for you in the next few days. So thanks again.